Yo, yo, yo. What's happening, everybody? Wait, hold on. I know it's a paranormal stream we about to get into, but that shit says new official Naruto animation revealed. See, I'm not the only one who said that shit was Venom. Make the symbiote suit low key. No, you can't. But alright, let's interact with this shit. It's been 4 days. I'm gonna fuck you like I miss you. Paranormal TikTok compilations.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last home healthcare video that I'll be making. I have to double check my book, but around that time, I was always writing things down whenever they happen. But I'll have to double check and let you know. So let's get into it. So around this time, I was packing a bag about 3 days, sometimes even 2 weeks, and I'll be going to these clients' houses. I was working for this home healthcare company. And so I packed the bag for the 24th, 25th, and 26th of December. And I was at this woman's house. Now I had already been to her house months before. Like I had been there consistently for months and nothing ever happened in her house. So here we are. This is a small house. We're up in the living room and we're dancing. She likes to dance. And so we're up there dancing, having a ball. And I noticed a lot of new decoration. I'm like, oh, you've been decorating. She's like, yeah, the other girl, whenever she's on shift, she helps me decorate. I'm like, cool. The doorbell rings. I go to the doorbell. I said, go to the doorbell. I go to the door. I opened the door and it was my coworker, the woman that she was just talking about. And she brought this chair. And I'm like, you brought a chair? She was like, yeah, it's adding to our decoration. This is something that we like doing together. I'm like, okay, cool, that was sweet. So she brings the chair in. When she brought the chair in, she set it all the way at the end of the hall, and it had this painting that was over it. So I'm like, okay, that's sweet. So we continue our stuff. The lady leaves. We continue dancing, and then the woman wants to get in bed. So I put her in bed. Fast forward to after I put her in bed, I put the motion sensors down just in case she gets up. So the motion sensors started going, they just started going crazy. And I looked at the camera and she's laying in bed. She's knocked out. So finally I stand up, and when I stand up to go check and peek my head around the corner, there's this dark figure sitting in the chair that my coworker had just brought into the house. Can't make out if it's a man or a woman just yet, but it was a very dark figure, and I heard stomping, but it didn't sound like feet. And then I look over and it has like this cane in its hand, just stomping it on the ground, on the floor.
A
So
shadow
finally, I
figure.
get up, I run over to my duffel bag, and I get my Bible out, and I get to praying. And it's just sitting there looking at me like, and I said, so you just not gonna go? Like, you just not gonna leave? So then once I started to get aggravated and I started to really like be really forceful with the words from the Bible, that's when it stood up and it walked into the bathroom and then it walked back out. But when it walked back out the bathroom, it did this high jump in the air. Like, okay, what was that about? After it did that little high jump, that weird thing, it disappeared from in front of me. But I
So when you're reading from the book to try and expel something, you gotta say it with conviction. You gotta say it with belief. You can't have any doubt in your body. You can't say it like you're just sitting there reading it, like you're reciting it. Like you really gotta mean it. And trust me, these spirits will know. They will know the difference from somebody who's reading it and someone who actually like is saying it and feeling it.
heard the motion sensor. So I walked over to the camera. And when I walked up to the camera, I see his face. Yes, it was a he in the camera, and he's pointing at my client. So, of course, I'm aggravated. I go back there and I flick the lights on. I didn't.
I ain't gonna lie. That would have made me shit my pants. What you mean? It, I look in, you looked in the camera and you see his fucking face and pointing at your client. Like, nah, I'm out of there. I'm out of there. I'm going to see the priest right after. I'm finna down some holy water. Like, I'm bathing in it. Like, I'm not going.
Didn't care if she was asleep. I was just worried because I know you ain't here for her. Not right now. Not right now. So then fast forward, I played it off to the woman like, oh, do you have to use the bathroom?
Oh, no. Something just happened, y'all. See, that's why I don't be trying to do these paranormal videos at night. What the fuck you mean?
I get to like drawing crosses over all the doors, over all the windows. But
See, y'all. I'm trying to do this shit for y'all, make this content shit for y'all. But man, I'm not playing. That shit just it disappeared. Like it just stopped working for a second. I, I'm not fucking with it. Again, what's going on? Let's refresh. What is going on? This is so stupid. I don't understand this. My boy are the kicks.
All thinking for a minute that we
Whoa.
Okay,
What's
so
that?
it was
I just
just
put the
that
button.
video that was tripping in. I look, you don't even want to go back to that shit. I don't want to see, like, I don't want to hear people's stories. I want to see shit. All right, let's go back.
For it, I played it off to the woman like, oh, do you have to use the bathroom? I'm so sorry that I flicked the light on like that. And so she's like, oh, no, I'm okay. So she lays back down. Once I go back out to the living room, I get
So, is it this video or like, what the fuck? All right, well, I guess that's that. I'm watching others. So you're not keeping me up all night. No siree, Bob.
That's right. Do not, under any circumstances, point a high-powered green laser at the plot victims.
All right, what the fuck is going on? I'm trying to watch these shits. Like,
and require them to be replaced and cost the company money. So please, under no circumstances, do this.
Oh, it don't turn. What the fuck? Nigga, that looks like Cyclops. Cyclops is popping out.
If you are in a dark room and you're looking in a mirror,
Said,
you
"I'll
look
take
long
bus."
enough, it is said that you can see things moving on the other side. And once you know that those things are there, they will notice you.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope all you guys are having a wonderful day. You already know today we got some more weird and strange videos we're going to be reacting to. If you want to show some support, don't forget to leave a like, comment, or subscribe, stuff like that. Maybe share the video if you're feeling generous. Always try to remember to keep your mind open and question everything. Keep thinking for yourself. But yeah, other than that, it's about to get weird. Let's get right to the video.
Playing on iPhone? Now you can play Unlocked on PC with Google Play Games. Unlock bigger screens and better controls for even sweeter battles. Go play on PC with Google Play Games. Download now.
A lot of dead bodies in the water.
A lot of dead bodies in the water.
Like,
Did you see that video where those people were sailing over where the Titanic's?
Does anybody know what that thing is? Is that like...
Bruh, I ain't gonna lie. We are not gonna fucking do this. This shit is so stupid, bro.
A family had been hearing strange noises around their house that they couldn't explain for days, so they set up ring cameras around the property, and one night they...
Why does the fucking audio keep dropping? That shit. Oh, it's because of me. Stupid ass earphones. I'm thinking the fucking shit tripping, nigga. Is this shit. Fucking dumbass shit. I'm over here tripping, thinking my shit fucked up. It's the fucking cord. Well, not the cord, it's the fucking socket. Oh fuck no.
A strange
There's
glowing
two
orb is
of
seen
them.
hovering in the room, and the moment it gets closer to the resting dog, the dog suddenly jumps up and quickly runs away, clearly startled by the orb. A few nights later, they capture the orb again, moving around the same area. This time, after the orb disappears, they get a notification on their outdoor ring camera and see this. In the corner, a dark figure can be seen coming out of the house to the outside. Before heading back in, one of the dogs notices it and barks after it comes out, which seems to be what makes it go back inside. Till this day, they have no idea what's going on around their house, but continue to capture these strange sightings.
Oh, fuck that.
Have you ever seen a game where the stronger you become, the more dangerous it is? You are in the wilderness with no guidance and no tasks. You must always be on guard against sneak attacks from players and bosses. The bosses will become stronger as you progress. All you can do is shuttle and explore in the wilderness and kill monsters to level up. When you finally reach level 100, you will receive your first quest reward. It allows you to choose to upgrade to a poison, ice, or fire-based profession. After upgrading, you will select more advanced attacks. Do you think you have the ability to try such a game?
Hiding. On June the 3rd of 2026, a woman named Elena captured something strange that she can't explain on her CCTV camera set up on her property. She lives in a farmhouse in a secluded area far away from other houses, but on one night she heard a loud sudden bang outside her house. So her husband went outside to check where it was, but as she reviews the camera footage, she sees this. At the top of the tree, a strange light object or thing is seen moving, almost blending in with the tree. And if you look closely, whatever it is also appears to hide behind the tree when the husband comes out to inspect the noise. The
Well,
husband
I
didn't
seen
suspect
that,
anything
but I
strange
didn't
after going
really think
outside.
it was nothing.
After
Like I
seeing
thought it
this
was
on
like a bug
footage, they were
flying.
left with questions. Just what is this? And did it make the sudden noise they heard outside? Let me know what you think. Inside the RV. The following video was taken on June the 1st of 2026 and is the only video they have uploaded. Although the uploader mentions it isn't the first time this has happened. He lives alone and it's late at night when he notices something deeply unsettling coming from his RV. Watch closely.
Vivo solo en mi casa, salí para afuera y la puerta se movió, se empezó a mover sola. Miren, 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 miren. Pero nadie me cree cuando les digo. Nadie me cree. No hay nadie ahorita ahí. Vi que se asomó algo y ese es mi perro. Pero mi perro no puede alcanzar a hacer eso. Se apagaron las luces, están prendidas.
As he zooms in, a dark shadow figure can be seen entering the RV before it comes back and peeks out as if it noticed the man recording. Then the door starts opening and closing on its own, and you can start to see the dark figure peek out again. Then the lights turn off, and right before the video ends, the figure can be seen through the top window, watching him before moving out of sight. Terrified, he doesn't dare to go inside to check. But, real ghost or not, you judge. Office work. On June the 7th of 2026, an office worker was working around 6:40 p.m. with another colleague just finishing up their shift before closing and leaving for the night. She gets up and goes to look at the report at the next desk along with her colleague when the security camera captures something chilling.
Ooh.
The two
They
co-workers were
laughing and
startled when
shit.
the chair
Fuck
at the
that.
back started moving and even the table lifted slightly due to the force. After that, they ran out of the office frightened. Many viewers also noticed that in the mirror reflection, you can see the computer screen the girl was using also changed to another window. Even if the desk moved, something would have had to click on the mouse button as well as move it in order to change the screen displayed. After regaining their composure in the next room, one of the girls comes back to collect her things and get ready to leave for the night, even asking out loud for forgiveness, believing that the office is haunted.
You spending so much time in there. Then attach yourself to you. See? Like I said, yeah, I spent too much time in there antagonizing it.
The girl being on edge gets startled easily after what happened. They also mention that this isn't the first time strange things have happened. So is the office haunted? I'll let you make your own conclusions. The trailer. A woman had recently lost her grandfather in 2024, and he owned a trailer and passed away inside it. But ever since his passing, it has been left abandoned and nobody lives there anymore. Now the girl and her friend decided to drive up to the trailer and check it out. But as they arrived, they heard a strange squeaking sound off the floor, which is the exact same sound it used to make when her grandfather would walk to his room. So they decided to stop and record it for a bit. Take a look.
You're out of that window and Grandpa's. Dude, look. I don't like it. I see it. Right into the house. Yeah, now go pee. You think somebody's in there? No, like right into the house with the car. Oh.
Hold on. Alright. My bad. What I miss?
No, like right into the house with the car. Oh.
I didn't even see nothing
At
though.
the window where they heard the noise, they suddenly panic after noticing a creepy pale face suddenly peeking out at them. Creeped out, they just up and leave the place. Now, no facial features can be made out on the face. However, just before they left, she took a picture. After comparing the picture to a photo of her grandfather, she couldn't believe the resemblance. So is her grandfather's soul somehow bound to his trailer where he once lived and died? Or is this something else entirely? Let me know. The reflection. This girl recently moved into a new apartment with her boyfriend, but started experiencing strange paranormal events inside shortly afterwards. From the lights flickering to voices, knocking sounds, and objects moving on their own. One night, her boyfriend is at work when this happens.
Lo rompebolas se pone cada vez que llegamos a la sesión.
Ain't no fucking way.
Nadie entra a este placar. Ustedes 20 veces se los he mostrado, creo. No, no hay chance de que alguien entre. ¿Cómo le gusta romper las bolas? Es increíble.
She checks the closet where the knocking sounds are coming from, but there's nobody there. Later on, she's cooking a pie when she starts hearing noises in the other room.
Y estoy sola. No hay nadie. Miren. Literalmente no. Qué pesado, hermano. Qué ganas de romper las bolas que tiene.
All the cutlery hanging starts moving and clattering against each other. On another night, she's returning home late with her boyfriend when they see something unsettling through their window.
Llegamos a la sesión y en la pieza, la cual estaba apagada, está las luces LED prendidas y no sé si alcanzan a ver esa silueta, sombra, no sé qué carajo es, pero hay alguien parado en la pieza y están literalmente nosotros dos acá. Miren, para que vean que de verdad no hay nadie, subimos lo más rápido que pudimos y no hay nadie en la casa.
What looks like a dark figure can be seen on the left side of the window, but the moment they enter the room,
What y'all doing? Y'all out on a date, and then when y'all come back, the lights on in your room, and it look like there's something standing in your window. I ain't going up there. I ain't going up there at all. We in a hotel for the night.
there's nothing
Like,
there.
ain't no
Nor
way.
is there any
Because
object.
think about it. There's two options. Either someone's in your shit or your shit's haunted. Either way, your shit is compromised. So either way, you're not sleeping comfortably tonight. Like, it's a wrap. Somebody either invaded your privacy or there's an entity that's in your shit. It's up.
In
That's a
view
wrap.
could possibly create that shape from the angle it's in. The following night, she's watching TV in bed when their bedroom security camera captures something horrifying. Watch closely.
Ooh. What the fuck was that?
In the reflection of the mirror pointing right towards her bed, a dark shadow figure can be seen moving before quickly vanishing, but there doesn't appear to be anything seen.
They be saying mirrors are another dimension, and that right there, nigga, that could be something in that fucking dimension.
Moving in the room at the same time. Because of this,
I
they
gotta
stick a
stop
camera
cussing.
on both sides watching the mirror and the windows. When one of them captures this.
But yeah, no, this is spooky. What was that?
A dark figure appears once again, this time in the reflection of the window. Keep in mind that their apartment is well above ground floor, so there couldn't be someone outside the window.
That's somebody in the
But
house.
as always, I'll let you be the judge.
Picked a great name,
Fuck
but your voice
no.
doesn't quite match it. We have a fix. VoiceMod gives you over 100
Devil's Cauldron. A man by the name Techrax went to explore a natural hot spring in the Nevada desert known as Diana's Punch Bowl, but is more commonly known by its ominous nickname, the Devil's Cauldron. While there, he decides to conduct an experiment.
We're going to use a drone to take this iPhone up and drop it into the hole.
His plan was to attach a phone to a drone with a fishing line so he can reel it down and test its durability, while also taking a look what's down there.
Watch a fucking hand come and grab that shit.
After After his first try, nothing strange happens, so he hits record again and decides to lower it deeper, only to be horrified of what he captures.
So again, it's fully working. It is on. I'm gonna hit record again on this iPhone 11. That was close.
Right, they dragging that shit. That shit fuck. What was that scream? Oh, fuck no. That's wicked. I know y'all hear that shit.
What sounds like tormented screams are heard, coming from deep within the Devil's Cauldron, which weren't heard the first time.
So I wanted to include this one little segment here as well, guys.
And not just that, like it seems like as it was spinning, like the screams was getting louder.
Notice after listening to the audio of the last drop test that went into the water, the audio sounded pretty eerie, and I wanted to include kind of the unaltered version here. So I have the clip here. It was 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and I edited, you know, for the actual video, because it's just a lot of talking, and then the drone is flying, and then I'll show you guys the actual drop here.
As soon as it hits the water, you hear screams.
And then right there, you could hear, it definitely sounds like some yelling. It's really weird, guys. I don't know what to think of it. Especially since the first dip there was no noise at all.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a fucking scream.
And then the recording actually stopped right here, which is also really weird. But I just wanted to show that, guys, as proof. Like, I didn't edit the audio or anything.
Some people believe it was a technical issue due to extreme heat, as the temperatures range from 140 degrees Fahrenheit to over 200. However, local legends say that
I highly
indigenous
doubt that's
tribes
the
viewed
cause of the
Devil's
fucking
Cauldron as
screams.
a spiritual void for great spirits and lost souls. So given the look of this steep hole and its name, the Devil's Cauldron, and hearing the collective screams that sounds like people in agony, what do you think it could be? Cat senses. Jack lives in an old 1920s house and also has a lot of old antique items and collectibles. One day he suddenly hears his cats meowing strangely and crashing into the bedroom door to get his attention. Knowing that this is unusual behavior for his cats, he pulls his phone out to record.
Guys, I'm the phone out. Bees have been meowing like crazy by the bedroom door and like crashing into it as if trying to get my attention. What is it? What you want? Something going on? Hey? Hey? What is it, guys?
Sound like the damn cat singing. Meow.
Whoa, it's cold in here. Hey, what is it, buddy? Oh, what the hell? Oh my god. Yep, good idea. What the hell was that?
You got a ghost plushie just sitting on his couch.
Hello? Is anyone in here? Hello? Show yourself. What? Are you doing this? Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's like a wind. Oh my god, what is that?
Is that the wind?
The room is so friggin' cold as well.
But that's like a spooky room though. Like,
Come here, guys. Come here, guys.
there were witches. Shit's moving around. There was a witch broom at the top. Those cats aren't meowing normally.
What? Look, it's swinging. I have not been near it.
I ain't gonna lie though. I'm getting
I'll show you
chills
the best
from
I can.
this, so that makes me feel like it could be something.
What? None of this makes any sense. How can this stuff be happening? What? What fell? What is that? What?
His cats seem to meow a lot like they are trying to tell him something. Then a paper on the table flies off and a strange wind is seen blowing the leaves of the flower. But as he turns around, there's nothing there that could be causing it. Then he hears another meow and a bang, then finds the chandelier moving on its own, before one of the cats gets startled by something falling by his
I ain't gonna lie, the
So just what
meows
did the
was
cats
like the
see?
scariest thing to me.
Nursing home.
Even with the shit moving, like the meows
Madeline
just didn't
works as a
sound like
certified
normal
nursing
meow.
assistant at a hospital that provides hospice care. Most of the patients are elderly people who are no longer able to take care of themselves or require extensive support due to some of their illnesses like dementia. Madeline works the night shift and is documenting a strange occurrence for her partner to see. One of the call lights in a room is turned on for the third time. The call light is the button patients press when they need assistance. However, there was nobody staying in this particular room, but she still has to go and turn it off. This is what she captured.
Alright. For documentation. Proof to show my babe when I get home. This is the third time. See that bathroom light going off? This is the third time in my 12-hour shift. Mind you. Mind you. Empty room. I'm so fucking scared right now. I swear to God, though. No one wanted to come down with me, fucking assholes.
Shit.
Oh, hell no.
I wouldn't have. You're in a fucking hospital. You know how many
so
spirits
scared
are
to go in
there? Good and bad?
I gotta ask my coworker to watch me. Okay. Watch me go in this room, please. I don't want to go in there by myself. I'm scared. Watch me go in there, okay? Oh, this old lady. Nobody. I know, but watch me because I'm scared. Ain't nobody in here. Call lights up there.
Genuinely scared, she calls another coworker to watch her as she enters the room, as if she has experienced something strange inside before. As she goes to stop the call light, she sees nobody there, but a faint voice can be heard.
Ain't nobody in here.
A disembodied voice is heard whispering, "Help me," which doesn't seem to be a coincidence considering the fact that nobody is currently staying in this room, and the call light has gone off 3 times, which is literally a way for patients to call for help. Then suddenly this voice says, "Help me," as she enters the room. So could it be the voice of a previous patient who passed away inside this room? We may never know. If you have any video recommendations, you can send them over to depthsofdespairbusiness@gmail.com or tag us on TikTok at depthsofdespair.yt. Music
Number
box.
one, the music box.
In the following video, a woman is home alone sitting in her room when she suddenly hears a music box go off in the house.
Home by myself.
Oh, fuck no. This shit stops when you get right there. That shit playing with you.
Tula, what was that?
And dog just sitting there chilling.
Oh, no. No, because I'm about to sit on the porch still calling it. Absolutely not.
As she gets closer, a voice says she's here. Then the music just stops.
Ooh, I didn't hear that she's here.
She looks around momentarily to find the source, as she's never heard that music box before. Freaked out, she just up and leaves the place. But real ghost or not, I'll leave the final judgment to you. Now in this next
Yeah,
one,
nah,
Leo's horse sensed imminent danger in the woods. You're gonna want to
that's
watch this
creepy
video.
as fuck. I ain't gonna cap. That was creepy. Was this the one I was watching?
Mercy Brown. Truth or Scare fans, this story is going to sound very familiar to you, but I hope you'll stick around anyways.
Yeah, it was.
And if you are, let's go ahead and get into the story. This
Okay.
story takes us to the smallest state in the nation,
No, let's go.
Rhode Island. And at that time, there's something pretty significant going around the US. This thing is also decimating populations of people, and this thing was called consumption. Now, we know it better today as tuberculosis, but back then, they called it consumption because it would literally consume the life force out of your body. So our story today centers around the Brown family. Now, there were 5 members of this family: a husband, his wife, and his 3 children. Now, unfortunately, consumption was brutal on their family, and it took out his wife and oldest daughter. Unfortunately, this left a father with his 2 grieving kids who would eventually go on to catch consumption themselves. Now, for the son
That's
of the
very
family,
unfortunate.
Edwin, he was sent off to Colorado to heal, but his sister Mercy wasn't so lucky. She ended up staying in Rhode Island, succumbing to the disease, and passing away at the ripe old age of 19 years old. And there she was buried in Rhode Island. Now, Edwin, on the other hand, came back fully recovered, and this is where things would go kind of awry for the Brown family. Now, as for the reason so many people were falling victim to this invisible terrorist, there could only be one culprit: a vampire. A vampire would be the only explanation for something consuming the life force out of your body. And technically, it kind of makes sense when you think about it, but of course, we have to resort to that unnecessary violence. So, there is a remedy that would prevent those from getting sick again in the future. This remedy involved going to the cemetery, exhuming the bodies of the deceased, and checking on the status of their decomposition. So basically, if you went to the cemetery, dug up the bodies, opened the casket, and they were laying there properly decomposed, for whatever that looked like at the time, then it was obvious that these guys were not the vampires, because the truly dead don't need to consume life. They're properly dead. So they went to the cemetery and they exhumed the bodies of George Brown's wife and 2 daughters. The first, Mary Olive, dead as a doornail, properly decomposing. His wife, Mary Eliza, similar state, dead as a doornail, terribly decomposing. But when they went over to Mercy Brown's casket, his other daughter, when they opened it up, something was amiss. Now I need to backtrack a little bit because in a perfect world, when you go to the cemetery, exhume your loved one's dead bodies, what's supposed to happen is after you confirm that they're properly decomposing, you take out their hearts, you burn them up, and then you consume them, perhaps in a tincture of some sort, but you are supposed to, in fact, consume the heart of those previously deceased, and this was supposed to cure you of your consumption. Now back to the story. So like I mentioned, when they opened Mary Brown's casket, things were still awry.
The
Not
shit
only
people
was she not
believed back
properly
then.
decomposing, she looked like she had been alive. Her cheeks appeared to be a bit rosy, her skin was blemish-free. In fact, it looked like there in the coffin, she was just there sleeping. And that was a problem, because this proved without a shadow of a doubt that Mercy Brown was the culprit of consumption in this small town of Rhode Island. Now, to the townspeople's credit, I can see why they might have thought Mercy was a member of the supernatural. It had been 2 months since she had been buried, and there was not an ounce of decay on her. But to the logical mind, it was also Rhode Island in the middle of the winter. The ground was frozen solid. Bacteria does not thrive in cold environments, so there's also that. But anyways, in order to save young Edwin's life, they did what they needed to do, which involved cutting out Mercy's heart and her liver, burning it up, and feeding the ashes to Edwin. Sad part is, even after all that, his son, Edwin, still died 2 months later of consumption. There was nothing he could do to save him. Even sadder still is that Mercy Brown was not the only victim of desecration post-death because of consumption. Vampiric panic was rampant throughout Rhode Island at that time, and Mercy was not alone in her victimhood. And even to this day, there's a small bar over her gravesite, making sure that you can't get in or that she can't get out.
I got a story. Well, I'm not gonna go too deep into that story, but Rhode Island has a whole lot of fucking graves. Like, there's so many cemeteries all around. it's very eerie, especially like when I was out there. It was winter around Halloween, so like it was like even more eerie. But there's so there's hella cemeteries, hella gravestones every fucking where, and then just like she just described, there's certain graves that are like buried inside of like a building that has like bars on it. So it's like it seems like they're trying to keep something from getting out. And like that shit spooks me out because it's like, what the fuck are y'all keeping in there? Like, what is going on in this town? Like that's just like honestly like really creepy.
But anyways, drop your thoughts in the comments. Did you know about America's first vampire, Mercy Brown? Let me know your thoughts on this story, and I will see you guys in my next video.
Hey friends, this story was sent to me by one of my viewers who swears up and down that this truly happened to her out on the Appalachian Trail. So if you like spooky, scary story times, stick around. She and her brother had been planning this trip for a really, really long time to go hike one of the sections of the Appalachian Trail in the more rural area of Tennessee, kind of bordering North Carolina and Tennessee. She said she remembers the day starting off normally, but the feeling in the air was just really heavy. She said it was like thick with humidity, just kind of like that icky, sticky feeling. By dusk, they were completely exhausted. They had been hiking for the entire day. They went off and they found a little clearing so that they could pop up their tent and set up camp for the night. There was no wind, no kind of like sounds, just the silence of the forest. She said it was kind of like an eerie, quiet feeling, like the earth was listening to her, or just trying to be so quiet that it could almost hear their thoughts. Even though they felt a little bit uneasy, they still fell asleep in their tent. And around 1:30 a.m., she woke up, startled. And at first she didn't know why she was woken up, then she heard it. A voice from outside of her tent calling her name. It wasn't loud, it wasn't super aggressive, it was kind of just like the whisper of somebody who would be sitting right next to you. Like,
Y'all ever go camping? Make sure you got a weapon on you because you never know what's out there waiting for you. And if you hear something calling you outside of your tent, calling your name, do not come out that tent. Don't come out of it. It's not safe.
a soft, kind of coaxing voice. Her first thought was that it was her brother, and when she looked over to see if he was in his sleeping bag still, he was gone. So she sprung into action. She unzipped the tent and was shining her flashlight through the trees in the pitch darkness of the Appalachian Trail, mind you. And that's when she saw him, or what looked like him. He was about 20 feet away from her, just kind of leaning against a tree. He was wearing the same jacket. He had the same backpack on, straps all hanging loose. He looked like he was kind of slumped over, like tired, or maybe even injured, but his face was turned just enough so that she couldn't see it. And then he started talking to her. He said, "Come here, it's me. I'm injured, I'm hurt, come here." She said the words were his, like she could tell that it was his voice, but something about it was wrong, like almost as if it was coming from a recording. Like it was kind of laggy, like half a second too short, almost distorted. She said that in that moment her stomach flipped upside down and she called out to him and she said, "Eric, are you okay?" Which, if you know anything about Appalachia, you know that the first rule is to never speak back to a voice that you hear. Like, I get it, I know you thought that it was your brother, but like, oh, fuck. Anyways,
never
once
speak
she
back
said
and
Eric,
don't
that's when the thing's
investigate.
head snapped directly towards her. Like, snapped with a sickening sound crack through the fucking forest, she said. She said once the thing turned its face completely towards her, it wasn't even a face. It was more of just like skin stretched out to like cover something, or to just like cover your bones, to cover your skull. There was no face, it was just skin. Naturally, she froze, standing still like deer in headlights, when all of a sudden from behind her she heard, "What are you doing outside of the tent?" So she whips around and there's Eric peeking his head out of the tent that she had just come out of after seeing him not in his sleeping bag. She looked at him, then she turned back around. The thing was completely gone. And when she was trying to explain to him like what she saw, he was completely not having it. He was not believing it. She said that she was too scared to like take down the tent and then go hike off back into the woods, back to their car, because they were already pretty far in there. They were pretty deep in the woods. But yeah, she says that she's still super mad. But super mad at her brother for not believing her. But yeah, crazy shit happens in the middle of nowhere. Courage the Cowardly Dog all the way, you guys. Anyways, if you guys have a story that you would like me to read for you, please feel free to send it to my email. I'll either have it linked below down here, or I'm going to put it in my bio so that people can just email me stories and I will read them. And I'm super excited to hear about all of your experiences.
I don't know if I
This
believe
scary
that.
story from a follower comes with pictures, and you are not ready. So my follower's name is Avery.
I'm definitely
and at
not
the
ready.
time
You
the
got
story
pictures?
happening, they were just a kid, and for the past 7 years that they had lived in this house, everything about it just set them on edge. You would hear creaking floors in the night, or you would feel like there was someone following you up the stairs when you knew you were walking up there alone. But every time that they tried to talk to someone about it, their family would really just brush it off. They would insist, no,
Okay.
there is something in this house, and more specifically, they claimed there was a demon in the cellar. Now, they included a picture.
All right, stream. Give me a little bit. I'm about to go smoke, and then I'll be back. shit, wrong one. My fault. Back up.
Of the demon, but they described it as a tall humanoid type entity with a rooster head on its shoulders and claw-like hands, and they would never see anything but its silhouette. And this goes on for years and years and years. Avery is just seeing the weirdest stuff in this home, but when this story takes place, things took a truly terrifying turn. On this day, Avery is just sitting in their bedroom, which kind of shares the attic space with their friend, and they're just hanging out. Nothing weird is going on whatsoever. They're just hanging out, they're talking, and basically how they're sitting is Avery is sitting here and their friend is sitting here. And behind their friend is like one of the corners of this room. Suddenly, out of nowhere, their friend just jumps up at the same time that Avery starts staring at this corner. And neither of them say anything. They both just stare at the corner together. They both had the same feeling, the same petrified, like something is in that corner watching us feeling. As they were staring at the corner, a black mass began to form. It was literally like a shadowy mist in the corner that appeared out of nowhere. And they were so scared they couldn't even move. They were just standing there totally frozen, staring at this thing, and it slowly just disappeared. Avery says it felt really familiar despite the fact that it didn't look like this demon she had seen before. She just knew that was what this thing was in the corner, now in the attic, whereas she had always seen it in the cellar. Avery says that despite the entity looking different here, they knew it was the same demon they had seen in the cellar before. It had just taken on a different shape. They knew it. It felt so familiar in that moment. And it was really gratifying because previously, when Avery had always told people, like, I swear to you, I see this thing throughout the house, nobody ever believed them. And now their best friend has just seen it too. This experience scared them so much, they never really talked about it after that day. But Avery says that their best friend saw the exact same thing, this black mass of a mist just appearing in the corner. Avery goes on to say that over time, they kind of put up spiritual boundaries and told whatever this thing was to leave them alone. And slowly but surely it did. However, they say that from time to time, they can still feel the presence lurking. They end off the email by saying, if anyone has seen anything like this and knows anything about the symbolism of a rooster's head, let me know. I'm sure Avery will be reading the comments here. Thank you so much to Avery for being a member of my YouTube channel. What do you guys think about this? Stay spooky, friends.
That's
I
pretty
asked you all
trippy.
to send me your scariest experiences with Ouija boards, and this one stuck with me, especially the ending. So the person who sent it in said this happened when they were 14 years old. Their family had just moved to a farm in rural Kentucky, tucked away on 120 acres of secluded land. The house had a bit of a strange past. It once belonged to a man that everyone in town knew as the town thief, a shady guy who, according to local rumors, was into some dark and disturbing stuff. Well, when they arrived to their new home, the upstairs of the house was completely stripped. No carpet, no furniture, no walls separating the rooms, just one vast, hollow wooden floor, empty. Well, almost empty. Right in the middle of the upstairs space was a Ouija board, just sitting there, like it had been waiting. They were raised religious, and they knew better than to mess with that kind of thing, so naturally they brought it downstairs to show their mother. The moment she saw it, she panicked. She told him, put that thing in the kitchen sink and burn it now. So he grabbed some matches and tried to light it. When he threw the match onto the board, it flared, but then went out. He tried again. Nothing. A third time, still nothing. At that point, even his mother looked unsettled, but what really unnerved him was his stepdad, who was an outspoken atheist, and he just stood there completely speechless. His stepdad finally said, give it to me. So they took the board outside to a metal wash tub in the middle of their yard, and his stepdad poured lighter fluid over the entire thing and lit a match. It caught, and for about 30 seconds, flames danced over the board, and then, just like that, the fire died. What's really creepy to me is that only the thin edges of the paper had burned. The board itself, especially the letters, numbers, and the symbols, pretty much remained untouched. So, frustrated and more than a little spooked at this point, his stepfather disappeared into the house and returned with a small container of raw gunpowder. And yes, he poured gunpowder generously all over this board, stepped back 5 feet, and tossed a lit match into the tub. After a big flash and a loud bang, a billow of smoke rose into the air, and when the smoke cleared, they looked inside just to see the board had, in fact, burnt, but every single part with a letter, a number, or a symbol was still intact. Blackened around the edges maybe, but otherwise completely untouched. His stepdad didn't really say much after that. He just handed him a shovel and said, bury it somewhere deep. So he did. That was back in 1987. Now it's 2025 and the old farm is gone. The entire 120 acres have been developed into a massive suburban neighborhood. Over 200 homes lined up in rows, and somewhere beneath one of those houses, maybe underneath someone's bedroom or kitchen floor, that Ouija board is still there, buried about 4 feet underground and still just waiting.
No.
Paranormal
That
stories for you
sounds
guys.
like the hold on. That sounds like the making of a scary movie. Like, could you imagine a fucking Ouija board buried under your crib? Oh, like all the weird shit that's probably just happened. And then them trying to burn it, that just aggravated it. So you're never supposed to burn it. I forgot how you properly get rid of it, but you're not supposed to fuck with it at all, period. But if they found it in their house upstairs, just sitting there on the floor, that means somebody was actively playing inside the house before they moved in. So that means that there's something there already. So yeah. Sorry for whoever lives there.
It has a lot of characters, just follow along. When I was a baby attorney, I just passed the bar exam, and I would get paid to go to court on behalf of attorneys. This attorney, right before Thanksgiving, reached out to me and said that he's on vacation, and if I could go to court on his behalf, talk to the client who's in custody, and then step up, get a date. I said, that's all cool, it's easy peasy, I could do that. This courthouse that I was supposed to go to is the 26th in California location. This is the main criminal courthouse in Chicago. Right behind this courthouse is the jail. It was Division 1 at that point. Division 1, just by way of background, housed all the inmates like Al Capone. They also had electrocution over there. So that's where the death penalty happened. It's one of the 3 locations in Illinois where people died. They shut that building down and they demolished it later on. When I went to court, I check in for my client. When I check in with the clerk tells me that the only guy in custody right now is my guy. So the only person that they brought from the jailhouse today is my guy. And I was like, all right, that's cool. It's going to be really quick. I'm going to go talk to him and then get a date. That's all fine. Then I go up to the sheriff, tell him that I need to go see this individual. He takes me to the back. When I go to the back in the lockup, I see this person that I had to talk to, my client. I talk to them, but in the corner of this lockup, I see this man with his head down sitting on a bench. I was like, that's weird because I thought my guy was the only one that was brought from the jailhouse to the court. I didn't really think much of it. I walk out, I get the case called up. Once that's done, the sheriff comes up to me. He asked me, Ms. Khan, is it okay if I take the guy back to the jail? I say, that's fine. So he was transported back to the jail. The judge at that point says that was the only case left. We're done for the day. I look up and I tell the judge there's someone else in the lockup. We're not going to call his case. The sheriff tells me that there's no one else in the lockup. But he will double check for me. So I say, cool, can you go double check? He goes in the back, double checks, and there's no one in the back. That kind of creeps me out a little bit. And at that point I tell the judge, I swear I saw someone in the back. This man, he had his head down, maybe like 40 years old, slim, like he had dark hair. The judge at that point tells me that he has been doing this for about 25 years, and there were other people who have also noticed someone sitting in the back. So I wasn't the only one seeing someone. This ghost usually comes. They suspect that he was electrocuted years ago. Nothing serious has happened, but he usually chills around.
Welcome to Appalachian Cryptid Stories. This story just kind of came to me while I was sitting here. I used to go hunting a lot when I was younger. You know, when you're kind of raised in the area, you just kind of participate in the area. What is there to do? Go hunting and do drugs. What do you want to pick? What do you want to pick? I didn't want to do drugs, so I picked hunting. I was about 10 years old. Now, to get in my woods, you can go in one of three
I
ways. You
respect
can
that.
go straight down in the middle, you could go in through the right, or you can go in through the left. We usually went in through the right, but that day in particular, we went in through the left. My dad was talking to me about finding an albino squirrel, and I was really excited about finding this motherfucking squirrel. We were squirrel hunting, but that has nothing to do with the squirrel. I was not planning on shooting the albino squirrel, and neither was my dad. We just wanted to look at the albino squirrel. It is a white squirrel. I'm just kind of giving you the guns that we had on hand. I think I had a 22. My dad had a handgun on him, and he also had a 30-06 because we do have bear in the area. Now, keep in mind, this was before I even thought Sasquatches existed. I'd made jokes about Bigfoot. My
Ooh,
dad
it's a
had
Sasquatch
jokes
story.
about El Chupacabra. We didn't even know dogmen were a thing. We were literally walking into the woods like, I've been in the Appalachian Mountains my entire life, and I ain't ever witnessed nothing like that. Because we truly hadn't. Now, granted, my dad had mentioned he had heard noises in the woods before, but he was like, a lot of y'all, it's a screech owl, it's a fox, it's blah, 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 blah. We got about 300, 400 yards down into the woods, and it got quiet. When you're just sitting in the woods and
That's
you're just
not good.
laying there enjoying nature, listening to the birds, enjoying the animals, hearing the squirrels chatter, and then suddenly it goes stark motherfucking quiet, you pay attention.
Right.
I was still young, and my dad just immediately kind of perked up and was like looking all around, paying attention. Suddenly he kind of got up and was like, hey, let's go. For some reason, when he said this like ignited like a primal fear in me. Like, okay, yeah, let's go. Like, we're leaving, we're done. And we got out of there faster than we went in. And like, my woods is like practically all incline. So we're getting out of the woods, right? We're walking through our field, and I feel the urge to turn around, so I do. And this is where it goes fuzzy because I can't really remember much after that. All I remember after that is I look at something that's really tall, really wide, and I say, Daddy, it's looking at me. And I hit the ground and I start screaming and crying. My dad turns around and he fires a shot into the woods or around the area, something like that. And I proceed to be inconsolable for at least 2 hours. They even considered calling the game warden. My dad didn't see whatever it was, but I've never forgotten it.
That's terrifying.
When I was younger, I used to get into a lot of trouble, and that ended me up in jail. And while I was in jail, you know, we would trade ghost stories and tell like scary stories. So this is one of the stories that was actually shared with me from another inmate. Now, he said when he was in another pod, he, you know, was in his cell one night, and basically they lock you down from 6 at night till 6 in the morning. Now, he's in his cell reading a book when all of a sudden he says, you know, out of the little window on his cell door, he sees another inmate walk by the door. But, you know, he thinks that's weird because everybody's locked in for the night who's out of their cell. So when he looks out the window, he sees the inmate walking by the other cells, and this inmate turns, looks at him, and he realizes half of his face is missing. And he knows this isn't an inmate that's like in this pod. And that inmate just walks right into the wall and vanishes. So like the next day, you know, he tells the other inmate,
I done seen some shit, but I'm glad I ain't never seen no shit like that. Like, that shit's trippy. But I definitely done seen some shit before. I done said it before in my other videos, but I'll tell y'all another time. I'll probably have like, I'll make a actual like, it'll be a YouTube exclusive. I'll do like my own like personal encounters with the supernatural as like we watch videos and shit.
I tell you, there was this inmate that was out last night walking around. Did anybody else see it? And no one seen it, and they thought he was like kind of losing it. So that night, he goes back in his cell for the night, and it's probably 12:30, 1 o'clock. He's laying in bed, and all of a sudden, his cell door opens up by itself. And he walks up to the door, there is no one outside the door. There's no CO, no other inmates, nothing. That door just opened by itself, this locked heavy metal door. He turns around, and standing behind him is that inmate he seen the night before. And then all of a sudden, bam, he wakes up and he realizes he was dreaming, except he can't move. Something is pushing down on him and pushing on his chest, and he can't move, he can't breathe, and you know he wants to scream,
Sleep
but it won't come
paralysis.
out. And then finally, it just let go of him, and he was able to get up. So he goes out of the cell, and you know he starts talking to the other inmates, and one of the inmates tells him, "Hey, you need to read your Bible and stuff every night and quote scriptures. This will protect you." And so he did that. And he said after that, he never seen this spirit again. This other story comes out of Statesville Prison before it had closed down. Right? They were getting ready to close Statesville, and there happened to be this inmate that was there doing time, and they were starting to transfer some of these inmates to other prisons. So there were cell blocks that were completely empty. Now this inmate ended up getting put in a older cell block, and you know he gets this cell to himself, and this entire block there is no other inmates in there, so he's completely alone.
That's creepy
And
as hell.
he gets in his cell.
I'm
he
gonna need
gets
a
settled in and
transfer.
stuff for the night, and he lays down on his bunk. Well, as he's laying in his bunk, he starts hearing whistling, and he remembers, wait, I'm alone in this cell block. So he goes to the bars, and he looks out, and he can see, you know, all the other cells, and he sees this one cell. There's a light on, and that's where he's hearing this whistling come from. But it's odd because, you know, it was lights out. All the cells' lights are turned off after 9 o'clock. So he yells, you know, hey, if you're down there, can you stop whistling? I'm trying to sleep, man.
You already know you in there by yourself. It's pitch black. There's one cell with this light on, and you gonna yell at that nigga? That's some people, bro. Like I'm not gonna acknowledge it. I understand you trying to sleep. Put your pillow over your head, nigga. It it's like little things like that. It's common sense, man. You just asking for these things to happen to you.
And no response. So he lays back down, and the whistling just keeps going, keeps going. So he yells again, you know, hey man, I'm trying to sleep, you know, stop, cut it out. And finally it stops. So he finally manages to lay back down, and you know, as he's sitting there in his bunk, he sees something walk by the cell door. And he looks real fast out the cell door, and he sees there's no one there. He can see down, you know, the entire block. There's no one there. But now that light is off, and that door where that light was on, the cell is completely open. And all of a sudden, as he's looking down at this cell, all these cell doors in that entire block start slamming shut and opening, slamming shut and opening. And he said he just started saying a bunch of prayers, and then it just stopped.
Yeah,
and that, he said, was the extent of the experiences he had, and then he ended up getting transferred to somewhere else.
Okay, you guys want to hear a scary
like I
story?
said.
Okay, so the first house that I ever bought I got it under foreclosure for $40,000. So, that's dirt cheap.
Right.
It was a cute brick ranch that really just needed a lot of cosmetic stuff done to it. So, my husband, who was still my fiance at the time, lived with me. He did a lot of work to it so that we could flip it and make a profit. I also want to tell you the whole time we lived here, my husband refused to acknowledge or admit that there was this very dark, horrible energy radiating from that house. Like it was just undeniable. He
That's
would
why you got
only
it for
admit
so
to
cheap.
it later after we moved out because he said that he did not want to make things worse for me or give me any worse anxiety. But I still hold resentment to him to this day because he tried to gaslight me into thinking it was all in my head when he knew it wasn't. So, most of this dark energy came from the basement and the kitchen, and a little bit into the living room. And you could, whenever like a lot of spooky shit was going on, like it would go back towards the bedrooms too. Here was the first thing that happened to me that I just thought was odd. I was trying to sleep in my bedroom. My husband was working night shift. We didn't have kids at this point, but I could not sleep. I could not get comfortable. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go on the couch and try and see if I'll fall asleep out there. We had just got a puppy. This is said puppy now, but she was in the living room with me. And all of a sudden, this is so random, a freaking potato rolls from the kitchen into the living room from
Potato.
where we were. So my dog gets up to go check it out. And all of a sudden, I hear her yelp. It sounded like a freaking scream. And then it was like something grabbed her and shoved her as hard as they could across the wood floor. She skid all the way across the floor and she was shaking. She was terrified. That was just the first incident.
Oh yeah.
Then
Nah,
one
fuck
day,
that.
actually, this is after we had gotten married
As
and
soon as
I was
you
pregnant
moved
with
in
my
that
first
motherfucker, need
child.
to move out of
My
it.
friend who lived in California was in town visiting, so she was spending the night. And we were sitting in my bedroom, and all of a sudden, she just looks me dead in my face, and she's like, "Dana, what is that smell?" And she's like, "And this evil energy is like so strong." I hadn't mentioned any of this to her before. She just looked me dead in my shit and she's like, "Something's going on here." Now, this friend that I have, she's always been like super sensitive to like supernatural things. And I trust her judgment and I thanked her. I could have cried because, like I said, my husband just, he tried to. I get why he didn't want to make me freak out any more than I already was. But like, I just knew that I wasn't crazy at that moment. But anyway, the smells and the noises, the loud bangs. Um, the one time I was in the basement, like, you get that feeling like something's chasing up after you turn the light up off and go up the stairs. That's how that feeling that I got in that house was crazy. And then one day, something grabbed my freaking arm.
Oh fuck
And I'm
no.
not kidding. The day after,
I haven't had that feeling really since like I was a kid. For like there was one time that I woke up and I felt something like at the I was asleep on the couch. I felt something that like by my feet. It was pitch black. And then like I just had like a jolt of just like chills and I got terrified from that. But I haven't felt like something was chasing me like since I was a kid. But that's a terrifying feeling. And then she said it grabbed her arm one night. Like it getting grabbed by any fucking thing is wild as fuck. Like you definitely got. I would be out of that house immediately. Like I'm calling my mom. My mom, I gotta come over. I gotta stay here because there's no fucking way.
my husband goes downstairs, he's coming back up, and he's like, "What are these scratches along the wall?" This is where things started to turn and he
So
couldn't really
and grab your
deal with it
arm, and then
anymore.
the next day
So
there's
it was a lot of
scratches up
things
the
like
wall.
that.
Oh yeah.
Things falling out of my closet, when there's like no explanation for it. The smells, the noises. And then I had my daughter, and this is when the housing market really started to go up. We weren't really done with everything in the house, but I was like, fuck this, we're selling. I did end up making a good profit off that house. Part of me feels guilty about it, but I heard that the people that lived in there after us, they moved out and now they rent it out. So I wonder how things are going.
And that's the thing about like the housing market. Like, there's so much shit that could be going on in your house that you never even like know about. Like, you could be moving into like a whole murder scene. Like, when shit happens in houses, like, they don't destroy the houses. Like, the houses stay up. They just remodel it, repaint it, and shit just to make it look like it's new. So just imagine, like, for all my people who rent, imagine what happened in the space before you lived there. Like, shit, I'm in an apartment. Imagine like who lived here before me, and so on and so forth. Like, it's just, it's creepy when you think about it.
So there's this Reddit thread right now that says, I worked in a California state prison for 20 years, and these are some of my paranormal experiences. And the stories in this thread are legitimately terrifying. But the scariest one is probably that one night a guard was down in solitary confinement counting all of the prisoners in each cell, just making sure that all 28 prisoners were accounted for. Each prisoner was supposed to have the appropriate paperwork filled out for them, but he noticed that there was one extra prisoner with no paperwork filled out. So the guy goes back to his station and calls his supervisor to ask about this unregistered prisoner. But the supervisor said no one should be in that cell. So the guard quickly runs back to the cell, but by that point, the mysterious prisoner is no longer there. And then he goes on to say that other guards had the same thing happen to them too. And if you've had any paranormal experiences, make sure you email me for a chance to be featured on my podcast.
Oh, fuck that.
State Penitentiary, the most haunted place in Missouri.
I was just about to say right before that started that prisons are like the most haunted places in the world. Like, all the turmoil, bad emotions, killings, rapings that go on in prisons, like all the fucked up shit, like it all just festers in one fucking spot. And energy. How do I say this? Because I'm high right now, so I know I ain't gonna say it right. But energy don't ever just go away. Like, energy's always there. So yeah, simplify it. Sorry.
This massive prison, nicknamed the bloodiest 47 acres in America, was opened in 1836, years before the Civil War even happened. Nobody knows exactly how many people passed away inside of this building, but they know for a fact it's over thousands, possibly even 10,000. And the building also houses the gas chamber, where 40 inmates were put to death. At one point, even a couple was executed together. And I can't even imagine how excruciatingly painful it would have been to have died in a place like this. Now, lots of paranormal activity has been reported inside of the prison, including people being scratched right here in this chamber, people hearing phantoms screaming, noises, banging, running, and obviously loads of
This
shadows.
music ain't helping.
Now, I've been to a lot of haunted places, but being inside of an actual death chamber was something different. It was eerie, it was dark, and it didn't feel good. We spent the full night here investigating for paranormal activity during a thunderstorm, and let me tell you, this place is haunted. The full video is going to be on my YouTube channel, The Paranormal Files, tonight.
Doing it there in a thunderstorm is crazy.
This is day 7 of talking about the most haunted places in the world, and today we are talking about the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This prison, which truly looks like a castle from the outside, first opened in 1829. And so many terrible things happened there that once it was closed down and a museum inside was opened up, visitors report so much paranormal activity. So as you can probably tell, the prison was designed to look like a castle or a church. The hallways in particular were designed to look like church hallways. Now, Eastern State was known for its solitary confinement. Prisoners were constantly alone when it first opened. On first design, cells could only be accessed by entering through a very small door that went out to the small exercise yard behind the prison. Eventually, this design was changed and bigger doors were installed, but these metal doors to the cells were covered with heavy wooden doors to filter out any outside noise, so they essentially were soundproof. The prison cell blocks were actually very advanced for the time, having toilets and sinks with water that the prisoners could use while staying in their own cells. On top of this, exercise time for the prisoners was synchronized so no two prisoners next to each other would be outside at the same time. Eastern State used the individual treatment system, which at the time was believed to be the most effective form of punishment. So when prisoners would leave their cells, guards would wrap a hood over their head so they could not see or talk to anyone else. Eventually, though, this system became impractical, and by 1913, the solitary confinement system collapsed due to overcrowding in the prison. One of the most infamous inmates at Eastern State was Al Capone, and in 1945, 12 inmates managed to escape after building a 97-foot tunnel that they escaped through. In 1971, Eastern State
Niggas
Penitentiary
getting out of there.
closed down.
That was a
And it
plan.
was left just abandoned for over 10 years. So there was no upkeeping of the inside of the prison, and everything started to rot away, and forests began to grow inside the cell blocks and outside. This is the remnants of an old barber shop inside the prison. In 1994, the prison officially reopened for historical tours. There's now a museum and even Halloween festivities there because it is extremely haunted. Visitors touring the prison today report feeling eerie presences while walking around the cell blocks and the halls.
I ain't
The
gonna
halls are
lie.
said to be haunted
Probably
by
some
inmates
sacrifices
who
that
were
happen
tortured or
there.
died in the prison, and many visitors report seeing shadowy figures walking around.
Sacrifices, some rituals,
Visitors also
some.
report hearing pacing footsteps and laughter coming from areas that are unoccupied or closed to the public. Honestly, so creepy.
Yeah, that's
The
creepy
most
as
haunted
fuck.
prison in the world is the Eastern State Penitentiary in Pennsylvania. Opened in 1829, every prisoner lived in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day. This only stopped due to overcrowding. At one point, the prison, which was only meant to hold 250 inmates,
She's talking about the same thing.
2,000. There were horrible punishments like the iron gag, which chained an inmate's tongue to his
Well, let's say that.
wrist. Or they would dunk an inmate in cold water, then hang him on a wall overnight in winter. Thousands of prisoners died within its walls before it finally closed in 1971. But now visitors see shadowy figures, hear disembodied screams, and have even felt unseen forces grip them.
What's the scariest urban legend?
Yeah, nah, that's creepy as fuck. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'm tired. I was fighting through the last like 30 minutes of this shit. But I'm gonna get better with doing these kind of videos and doing conspiracies and stuff. I'm gonna get back on it. I know I've been slacking, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry to y'all. I'm sorry to myself. And you know, let's just really lock in and get to it. Ain't no way through it but to do it. So until then, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the videos, and look out for the next ones. Holla at your boy. I love y'all. Peace.
Access